Art, I was always dreaming of being famous or having success with art, selling things and being able to live. But then in the end, when you're succeeded being an artist, making money with art, you find out that the most important thing is you do art.
I'm Silvia Winkler, I'm an artist and I'm a member of the board of the Kunstverein Wagenhalle. And now we are here in the area of Kunstverein Wagenhalle. And what you see here that's the Wagenhalle. And the Kunstverein Wagenhalle is it's the association of all the artists who are working here in this area. So who have their workshops and their studios here. That's approximately at the moment 120 artists. And they work in all fields like theater, visual arts, film, media arts, also design, architecture. In front here you see the Kulturbetrieb Wagenhallen. That's a commercial event location and they do company events and fairs, also concerts. But we are not associated with them. And the other 2/3 it will host workshops and studios, so it's still under construction. And the Kunstverein Wagenhalle also has several other buildings, and also what you see here, the container city. About the history of this place, originally all this here belonged to the German train company, and in the hall first it was a depot for trains, later on they repaired trains, and in the end buses, city buses. And from all these doors you can see here there were coming out tracks for the trains. In 2001 the city of Stuttgart bought all this area, and in the contract it was written that all the buildings should go, so that the German train company has to deconstruct all these buildings here. So in 2003 several artists came and they asked the city if they can use the hall until it's teared down. At that time there were several buildings around here, they were already gone. But the hall and 2 more houses were still there. And then there was a 1-year contract from 2004 to 2005, the artists moved in. And then there was another 1-year contract and another, and in 2010 there was the first 5-year contract. And during these 5 years there was a big crisis, because it came out that this hall, that the statics are very bad and also the fire protection. So in case of fire, no firemen would have gone in because it would break down. So in 2014 it was clear the hall needs some renovation. Then it came out that the city will invest money for this renovation and that we have to move out of the hall during that time. And then we had several meetings what to do now, if there was an offer from another building that we could move in there, or parts of us. And in the end we decided that we all want to stay together and that we all want to stay here, to emphasize that we are more than 100 single artists, that we are really a group, that we grew together as friends and colleagues, and also that this place is really important to us. And then for this time, during the renovation of the hall, we built the container city.
So to make it a sculpture, it's always the important thing how you're gonna put it in the room or in the space. So you can put it on the floor, you can put it on a little socket, how do you say it? Pulpit, or you can put it on the wall. So I can put something in here so that I can fix it on the wall. So it's just. I'm Thomas Putze. I'm a sculptor and a performing artist. I do works with wood and junk that I find. I perform with my body, and a lot of times I also do music. I play guitar and have different kinds of guitars with saw blades on it, so I can saw and cut wood and sing at the same time and play guitar. So I'm always interested in doing new things. Well, to me, I think the engine that's inside me that makes me do art is something I can't explain. It's just a pressure inside to do something, to express whatever. And for me, what inspires me are animals. There's just the nature a lot, and but it could also be people and moments. So a lot of times I go out and do drawings and just try to look at something and be impressed by the form or by the movement. So like mostly I like animals, as you can see. Cross. And at the same time it was my Christmas tree. This was the log and the branches, and yeah, so the material it's an important source of inspiration, because sometimes it's just something that I find. I don't know why I find it interesting. I like it maybe because of the surface and the form, and then it comes to some creation with it. I started as a child. I always did drawings and painting, but then professionally I started to work with 20, 22, 25. Since then I'm a professional artist. I do art as my main income and my life. And why I do it, I think I have to do it. I don't have a choice. If I don't do it, I'm not the one I am, and so I always tried to also make money with art, because I knew if I couldn't make money with art, I couldn't live as an artist, because I have 3 kids and they have to be fed, and yeah. So I'm lucky to be able to live as an artist. I like the place here because you can be on your own. Yes, and I like to be outside in the nature. I also like to be outside. I don't like places inside, so maybe I go to a museum and draw some animals, but I always feel more alive when I'm outside, when there's sky above me. I would not be happy to only have the material and the sculptures around me. I also need this different part, so this is why I have my music here too. So I think it's dependent from each other. Nee, ich fahre jetzt einfach gar nichts mehr rum dann.
Okay.
Ja.
Ja, das kriegen wir.
Jetzt noch ein großes Stück Holz. Es ist aber von den Kopfhörern eine Abfolge von. Also, aber das hat sich ja dann. Wolltest du gerade zum Karl gehen?
Papa gehen.
Bin ich der Papa?
Verstanden, wie das funktionieren soll. Da ist einfach also das ist eine Hängematte mit Stab auf der rechten.
Also in these containers there are artist studios, and here is kind of the place for coming together, for making a party, for sitting in the sun, and also it's a kind of a biotope with a lot of insects and animals and wild growing plants, but it's an important part of Kunstverein Wagenhalle as well.
Auf, der macht sich jetzt selbstständig. Ja, der kommt mit dem anscheinend immer klar. Ich bin schon klar. Nee, ich denke, aber du, was bin ich jetzt? Das ist nur mal so, das ist die Leute, dass die Steuerschule nicht leben, weißt du? Aha. Und die andere aussehen und so, ja, weißt du? Ja. Und ich weiß nicht.
Now we are in the middle of Container City. This is the marketplace, like the central place of this village, artist village. And here you see containers and buildings which have a more public use, maybe. So these two blue containers, they are from the Kunstverein, and they were our old, or they are our old project containers. So in the right one we did exhibitions, and in the left one we did workshops and symposia, also meetings. And they are called Bruno and Taut, like the architect Bruno Taut. And also Taut, the word stands for Temporary Artists Utopia Tool. And now we have a new project space in the hall that you will see later on. So at the moment we are thinking about what to do with these containers, if we should keep them for the association or if new artists should move in. Then here is a place of Moritz Finkbeiner, the white and orange containers. He is doing very small but very fine concerts here. Here you see the place where Thomas will put his new construction project. And in the background, the blue containers, the Neue Oper, that's contained. That's an association of its own who had another area where they had to leave. And they came here and asked if they could have kind of an interim in our area. They also do concerts and parties. Old train wagons, they are coming from a place across the tracks over there. And this was in 1999 that some students, they detected these train wagons. So in the beginning I think it was 14, and they asked the train company if they can use them as studios. But they are also constantly threatened to go, to have to leave. And now I think there are 8 wagons are left, and 2 of those who had to go we brought here as also as a kind of a reminder that they are kind of our pre-association in a way. So many people from over there, they moved to here, and we have close ties with them still. We got an award for this, for the cultural protection area and the container city at the Deutsche Städtebaupreis. So we got a Belobigung a honorary mention, maybe at the Deutsche Städtebaupreis for this area, and which is a very important award in Germany. At the time, the jury, they also mentioned that this container city has the potential for further development, and also for further development of the area around, to be like an incubator for the city which will grow around here. We constructed Container City in 2016 for the artists for their interim studios during the renovation of the Wagenhalle. We did a lot of work ourselves. So the city of Stuttgart, they helped us. They gave us electricity and water, but we had to dig the trenches, and we had to make the fundaments for the containers ourselves, and also the artists, they had to buy their containers by themselves. And as you can imagine, this was a really, really big effort in energy, in work, also in money for the artists. And at the time we thought that we can make an art project out of Container City, so that we don't only put the containers like you saw the containers of the construction workers, but that this area gets an art project in itself. We had two young architecture students who helped us for making the layout and for making the streets and for designing, for making the city planning. So this is the first part of Wagenhalle where we could move in after the renovation. It's our new project space. Basically, the Kunstverein Wagenhalle is a place for art and culture production with studios and workshops, and all the things, the theater plays, the artworks which are produced here, they are shown in other places in the city of Stuttgart, but also internationally. And now for the first time we have this place for showing what is produced here. It's really huge, and we started in November with the cultural event program, with one theater play, with an exhibition, and with a music festival. And so next year this will continue, and will be kind of like a window to the outside to show what is produced here. Here, this I think is kind of really important, as it shows our history again, what I told you before, that here were the tracks coming out of the hall, and here were the train repair shop. There were some buildings which were already teared down. Then in the next step, in end of 2003, 2004, the artists came and they started to work in the hall and to adapt it to their own needs. And then in 2016, when they started to renovate the hall, to do some construction work, and the artists, they had to move out. They built Container City and put their studios to the Container City. And this is kind of what we think should be the future of this place. So next year in spring, the artists will move in again into the Wagenhalle, and the Container City here should transform. So of course it can't stay as it is, but we think that it has a big potential for transformation to, in a way, to open it to new users, so for young artists who are looking for studios, but also for other institutions, for scientific project, for another cultural institution, maybe for architecture experiments, and so that in a way that the containers get substituted by new buildings, small, very small buildings with new materials, with new users, and that in this way a new and experimental and sustainable city quarter can be constructed here. What you see here is the new studios that are constructed at the moment. So when we came here in 2004, it was kind of an anarchic process. The artists, they came and one put his stuff here, the other there, and then maybe they made a little fence or not, and it was not kind of a very regulated place. And now, as the city put in so much money, we have to follow the rules. We need the emergency exits. We have in the red tubes, it's a sprinkler system if there is a fire. And we have, of course, we have to construct real studios, which we are doing here at the moment. And of course, we had the hope that this container city is not only for 2 or 3 years until we go back into the hall, but that this area, that this is the starting point maybe for a new art production area, or for a new kind of city quarter, so that this container city can stay and that it can be transformed and further be developed.